Before you ask, no, carbon boat isn't done because I had to drywall this weekend. All right, my name is Alex Barham. I do a lot of boat reviews, and a lot of people are wondering now that the code is out, what creek boat is right for them in the Dagger lineup. You've got the Nomad, Phantom, and now the Code. Let's start at the absolute beginning. Let's trace the lineage of each of these boats because it really tells a lot of the story of what you need to know. The Nomad, really the second Nomad, the new Nomad. Now, the old Nomad, this was made to just be a creek monster. I think it came out in like 05 or something. It was at one point the quote-unquote boat of choice for tall waterfall running. Now, sort of a chicken egg because Tyler Brott was sponsored by Dagger, so he was going to use it either way. The new Nomad was to replace that. Longer, faster, more rocker, more maneuverable, better overall. But it filled the same hole. Snowy is very much about legacy and continuing all the concepts of the brand. So the Nomad is going to be a rock-bouncing, creek-driven machine. Low volume rivers, steep gradient. The Phantom. Now, the name tells you a good part of this story. This was a team project in the same way that Green Race was yesterday. You saw a big long thing with Dagger on it that was not on the website. That's called the Vanguard. It's a team-only boat right now. In the same way, the Phantom was basically a team project, something in the 9-foot class that would go fast since they didn't have that at the time. Yada yada, it wound up being released to the public. Think about it that way. This is a go fast, go downstream, go straight kind of boat. The Code. The Code is the new replacement for the Mamba. There were multiple versions of the Mamba. Let's not make the Mamba 4.0. This is the Code. So we have something that river runs, is good for beginners, is high performance, because you forget now, but back when the Mamba came out, it was a high performance boat. Basically, the Code is supposed to be a catch-all for everyone, and ideally is going to be the mainstay of their brand for quite a while. So from a 10,000 foot view, you should already maybe have an idea of which one you're gonna pick. The best way I can describe it is think about your personal style, your goals, where you want to go in this boat. If you are a mank rider, you're carrying this boat, dragging it, going into low volume, steep, rock bouncing, boat abuse, you break boats on the regular, you want a Nomad. This thing bounces off rocks like it's its job. Oh wait, it is. It is just super good at running mank. It doesn't want a lot of volume. It sort of gets pushed around in big water, but in low volume situations, it's able to turn on a dime, react really well with bounces. And if your lines involve bouncing off of stuff and pinballing down rapids, the Dagger Nomad is just such a good boat for that. Unlike most full-on displacement boats, it is not actually slow. That is in itself hard to do. So if you are going to run a lot of mank and you don't want something to break, you're willing to sacrifice a little bit of speed, a little bit of hard edges, that's the Nomad. By comparison, the Code. The Code is going to have harder rails. It is going to be much more poppy and dynamic. Basically what we mean by dynamic is that the bow and stern have more rocker. They are always engaging and disengaging, and the boat overall is going to seesaw back and forth more. The purpose in that design feature is for the Code to ride high, be aggressive, and keep the bow dry to improve the paddler's ability to control the boat and navigate. This makes changing lines on the fly and really straightening out a pinball course super nice and fun. Compared to the Nomad, you are going to find this boat to be much easier to drive, quicker, and just generally answer to directions in big current more readily. The Nomad can sort of misbehave a little bit because it's lacking any distinct chine, but the Code has just enough to grab and go. The Code, like I said, is really going to be a all-around take it anywhere and be satisfied that you brought that boat. That is its purpose. That's why they built it. And I think it delivers on that premise. Moreover, Both of these boats perform really well across the spectrum from beginner to advanced for those basic niches. If you are an advanced paddler, you can make anything look good, but you're gonna still reap the advantages of selecting appropriately. Now let's get to the Phantom. I left that for last because I really think this is a specialty boat. When this thing came out, basically everyone hopped in it, everyone grabbed it, they followed the race trend, and I know it might not be a popular opinion, but I think we're entering a post-race era. I think that, quite frankly, everyone's more interested in half slices right now than going fast and straight and skipping eddies. We're playing the river more, and if nothing else, there's sort of like a social disconnect if one half of your crew is bombing and one half of your crew is playing. But if you are running big water, you want to race, or at least kind of thinking about it, you don't have to in a Phantom, that's really where the Phantom is going to be. As opposed to other boats which are going to answer and respond to river inputs more, the Phantom is really designed to cut through noise, blast through features, and keep going straight fast. That's a race boat. That's what it does. And for that purpose, it's very good. If you've ever seen someone trying to micro creek a Phantom, it's not ideal because that was never its job. However, if you are paddling big, wide open lines on pushy water, a situation where something that tracks and goes quickly is more important than something that is nimble and is able to make hairpin turns, the Phantom shines. It absolutely capitalizes on that opportunity. To that end, it is also the best in the fleet for blasting out of holes. With that long profile in the stern, much like the Piranha 9R2 or maybe the Scorch, the Phantom is really good at just keeping its bow at a lower angle and using all of that energy to project away when the volume in the stern shoots the boat out. Looking at the Code and the Phantom side by side, you'll notice that although they are similar in their rocker profile, the Code has slightly more rocker and it is much more pronounced in the ends versus the Phantom, which is longer and sleeker. So having slightly less rocker makes the Phantom quicker and it makes the boat stay flatter going over features. That's part of why it cuts so well, and just generally it always seems like it's ignoring what's happening around it as it blasts downstream. By comparison, that extra rocker in the Code is part of why it is always popping to the surface, giving you opportunities to get more responsiveness out of the boat. This is going to allow you to kind of blast those race lines in the Phantom versus jump into those tight technical lines in the Code. So by the same token, the Code is going to react more to external inputs from the river. The Phantom's going to blast through them. That rocker profile also adds to how the chines work in the boat. That's part of why one sweep stroke in the Code can spin you all the way around and then some, whereas one sweep stroke in a Phantom will not do nearly as much. This, again, really comes into play when you're picking lines in both of these boats. You can zip around pretty much anywhere in a Code, but the Phantom is going to be much more picky in terms of wanting to go straight fast. In the same way that the Code is going to be more responsive, the Phantom is going to be less responsive to outside input. They're also going to treat your input the exact same way. So the Phantom is going to allow a racer to make a slight hiccup and still stay on line, whereas the Code is going to look for a minute input from you to make a big jump in the direction that you want to go. What that ultimately ends up meaning is that when I paddle a race boat, I think I need to give my inputs to the boat earlier because it will probably take a little bit more time for them to actuate through because the turning radius of the boat is often wider. In the Code, I can basically at the last second change my mind and say, I want to go there, and off it goes. Again, this can be good, this can be bad. This is going to come down to you and how you view your experience. You know, I've said it before, but we're really right now in a post-bad boat era. If we're all being perfectly honest, you can go back 7-10 years, look around at what was current, and there was a big segment of the market that I would not want to go paddle again today. Be it, technology and mold making, plug making, more rigorous testing, better concepts, better boats are being brought to the market. It's just a fact. With that said, put any of these boats in the situation that it is designed for and it will shine. But try to make one of these boats a one-boat quiver and they could fall flat. If that's what you want, you're gonna go for a code. The Phantom, the Nomad, they have their strengths and weaknesses and they're more pronounced. They're stronger in their category and weaker outside of it. All around, you want the code. There really isn't gonna be a situation where a code is gonna be the knife to a gunfight. You're always gonna have enough boat. You're always gonna feel like you're in control. This is just an all-around weapon. If you have a specialty need, then you should look to the Phantom. You should look to the Nomad. But really, this should probably be your all-around boat. Now, last thing before I go. Remember, the Phantom was only made in one size, and that size was really pretty much catered to the racing community. So if you are fit, if you are, let's say 160 to 185, the Phantom performs amazingly. If you are above and below that, it's going to start to slip. It was a one-off project. It doesn't have a full size run. That's it. I hope this helped. I'll put a full list of the reviews for these boats in the comments below. And yeah, like, subscribe, all that jazz. I'll have more stuff coming soon.